there are not actually very many members. We have 3 or 4. Let's hear them. Honorable Manje.
Thank you, Speaker, for giving me this chance also to put a word into it and say that this is a committee that ensures what the House decide is implemented. Otherwise, without this committee, the House can register it in vain. Speaker, I tend to think this is what has been happening all along, where a House come up with a resolution or a report, and then after that it is put in the shelves and it is never implemented. So it is a committee that makes sure that at least it tracks what the House decide. For example, if there is an act that has been passed by Parliament, then it is the work of this committee to make sure that it is implemented on the ground. Also, if there is a petition that is done by Kenyans through this House, it is the committee to check whether the same has been implemented, and any other resolution that is done in this particular House. The key thing is, while tracking what has been implemented and what has not been implemented, the implementing officers should not shy off this committee, because you see, the work of this committee should be to make sure that, or to check whether what the people decide, because we represent the people, is implemented, because actually we are here on behalf of the people. And if they are not able to implement because of maybe some shortcomings in the resolution, they should come to the committee and explain to what level they are able to implement and at what level they are not able to implement. So I tend to think also it is a good tool for for executive to make sure that at least it uses this committee to also question whether some officers who are supposed to implement on the ground are doing the same. Mr. Speaker, I realize that also when we are debating, we should also come up with resolutions that are implementable to some extent, because you might find that the resolutions that are made, some of them in this House, cannot be implemented, given the budget that is the country has. And also, given the process of budgeting in this particular country, you might come up with a resolution that requires some large amount of money to implement. So it becomes also sometimes difficult for these officers to implement. So I tend to think it should also be in phase. We should come up with good recommendations that are implementable on the ground, that are not general in nature. For example, if you want something implemented, the resolution or the recommendation should be such a thing should be implemented within that particular time. But when you leave it open, the officer can come before the committee and say the process is still on because it is not time-bound. So I tend to think also we should check on that to make sure that at least the implementation is in phase. And also, we have to make sure that at least the committee does not operate like any other oversight committees. We have departmental committees in this House. For example, if you take a committee like Committee of Energy, the Committee of Energy should check whether the sector is being done correctly. But the Implementation Committee should not operate as if it is oversighting that particular ministry. What it is supposed to do is to make sure that it calls the officers only to check at what level the implementation has been done. So lastly, before I sit down, I want to say, in this country we have so many reports of Parliament, especially reports of Public Accounts Committee and reports of PIC. If they are implemented to the fullest, I think we can make a very big step in this country to make sure that at least what has been recommended is done. So I support this report. Thank you.